Hi, good morning to everyone. In this video, we are going to see about the sulci and gyri of the brain. The cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. It consists of two incompletely separated cerebral hemispheres. The cerebral hemisphere consists of outer gray matter and inner white matter. In the white matter, some of the nuclei called basal ganglia. The outer surface of the cerebral hemisphere is covered with cortex, which is highly folded due to the presence of sulci and gyri. It is estimated that the surface area of human cortex is 2200 square centimeter. The cavity inside the hemisphere is called the lateral ventricle. The longitudinal fissure of cerebrum intervenes between the medial surfaces of the right and left hemisphere. At the bottom of fissure, there is corpus callosum, which is a connecting bond between the hemispheres. The content of longitudinal fissure are falx cerebri, arachnoid matter, pia matter covering the medial surfaces of the hemisphere, anterior cerebral vessel, and indusium griseum on the superior surface of the corpus callosum. Next, let us see the external features of the cerebral hemisphere. The cerebral hemisphere has three poles, three surfaces, three borders. What are the three poles? Frontal pole, occipital pole, and temporal pole. First, we see the frontal pole. The frontal pole is pointed anterior extremity of the cerebral hemisphere. A point at the junction of root of the nose and the medial end of superciliary arch indicates its position on surface. Coming to the occipital pole, it is the pointed posterior extremity of the cerebral hemisphere. A point supralateral to the external occipital protuberance indicates its position on the surface. The temporal pole is the anterior end of the temporal lobe. It is located in the middle cranial fossa under cover the lesser wing of sphenoid. Next, let us see the surfaces of the cerebral hemisphere. The surfaces are supralateral surface, medial surface, and inferior surface. The right and left medial surfaces encloses the longitudinal fissure. The inferior surface is subdivided into orbital and tentorial surfaces by the stem of the lateral sulcus. Next, let us see the borders of the cerebral hemisphere. Three borders: supromedial border, infralateral border, and inframedial border. The supromedial border lies between the medial and supralateral surfaces. The infralateral border lies between the superolateral and inferior surfaces. Its anterior part separating orbital surface from the supralateral surface is called the superciliary border. The point where stem of the lateral sulcus cut this border and divides into three rami corresponds to the pterion on the surface. The inframedial border intervenes between the medial and inferior surfaces. It is subdivided into three parts. The medial orbital border intervenes between the orbital and medial surfaces of the frontal lobe. The medial occipital border, it intervenes between the tentorial surface and medial surface of the occipital lobe. And hippocampal border, it lies between the previous two. The uncus and parahippocampal gyrus form the hippocampal border. Next, we see about the lobes of the brain. They are frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, temporal lobe, and fifth lobe is the insular lobe, and sixth lobe is the limbic lobe. Next, let us see the cerebral sulci and gyri. The cerebral cortex is composed of neurons and neuroglia with minimum fibers. It shows numerous elevations and depressions to increase the surface area greatly. The elevations are called gyri and depressions are known as sulci. The pattern of the sulci and gyri is not constant and it is differ in right and left hemisphere of the same brain. Next, let us see the types of sulci. There are four main types of sulci on the cerebral hemisphere: the limiting sulcus, axial sulcus, complete sulcus, and secondary sulcus. The limiting sulcus separates the area of cortex which differ in structure and functions. Example, the central sulcus. The axial sulcus, it develops in the long axis of a rapidly growing cortical area. The posterior part of the calcarine sulcus is the example of axial sulcus. Next, coming to the complete sulcus, it is the one that reaches the wall of the ventricle to produce an elevation there. There are two examples. The posterior part of calcarine sulcus produces calcar avis in the posterior horn, and collateral sulcus produces collateral eminence in the inferior horn of the lateral ventricle. Coming to the secondary sulcus, it is the one that depends on other factors for its formation. Example of secondary sulci are lateral sulcus and parieto-occipital sulcus. The submerging of insula is responsible for the formation of lateral sulcus, and backward growth of corpus callosum is responsible for the formation of parieto-occipital sulcus. Next we see what are the main cerebral sulci. They are 4 in number: lateral sulci, central sulci, calcarine sulci and parieto-occipital sulci. First we see the lateral sulcus. So, lateral sulcus are otherwise called Sylvian sulcus. It is the most conspicuous of all the cerebral sulci and it has a stem and 3 rami. The stem of the sulcus begins as a deep cleft on the inferior surface of the cerebral hemisphere at the anterior perforated substance, and it extends laterally to reach the suprolateral surface. On reaching the suprolateral surface, it divides into 3 rami: anterior horizontal, anterior ascending and posterior. The 3 rami of lateral sulcus diverge from each other at a point called Sylvian point. Next, coming to the central sulcus or sulcus of Rolando. It begins by cutting the supromedial border of the hemisphere about 1 cm behind the midpoint between the frontal and occipital poles. It runs sinuously downwards and forwards and ends just above the posterior ramus of the lateral sulcus. Its upper end usually extends into the medial surface. The next sulcus is calcarine sulcus. It is present on the medial surface of the cerebral hemisphere. It begins as a deep fissure a little below the posterior end of the corpus callosum, the splenium, and follow an arched course with a convexity upwards to the occipital pole and may extend slightly onto the suprolateral surface. The next sulci is parieto-occipital sulcus. It is present on the medial surface of the hemisphere. It begins at the midpoint of the calcarine sulcus and courses upwards and slightly backwards to cut the supromedial border of the hemisphere, about 5 cm in front of the occipital pole, and it may extend slightly onto the suprolateral surface. Next, coming to the demarcation of lobes on suprolateral surface. With the help of lateral, central and parieto-occipital sulci, the preoccipital notch and 2 imaginary lines, it is possible to divide the suprolateral surface of the cerebrum into 4 lobes. The central sulcus is prolonged till it touches the posterior ramus of lateral sulcus. Next, an imaginary vertical line is drawn from the point of parieto-occipital sulcus on the supromedial border to the preoccipital notch on the inferolateral margin. What is preoccipital notch? It lies about 5 cm in front of the occipital pole. The posterior ramus of the lateral sulcus is extended to touch the vertical line. The frontal lobe lies in front of the central sulcus and above the posterior ramus of the lateral sulcus. The parietal lobe is bounded in front by the central sulcus, behind by the vertical imaginary line, above by the supromedial border and below by the posterior ramus of lateral sulcus and its backward extension. The occipital lobe lies behind the vertical imaginary line. The temporal lobe, it lies below the posterior ramus of the lateral sulcus and its extension. It is limited behind by the lower part of the vertical line. Next we see about the fifth lobe, that is insula or island of Rayleigh. The word insula means hidden. The insula is the submerged part of the cerebral cortex in the depth of the stem and posterior ramus of lateral sulcus. It forms the floor of the lateral sulcus. It has been submerged from the surface during development of brain due to the overgrowth of the surrounding cortical areas and can be seen only when the lips of the lateral sulcus are widely pulled apart. It is triangular in shape and surrounded all around by a sulcus called circular sulcus, except antero-inferiorly at its apex called Lyman insulae. It continues with the anterior perforated substance. The insula is divided into 2 regions, anterior and posterior, by a central sulcus. The anterior region presents 3 or 4 short gyri called gyri brevia, and posterior region present 1 or 2 long gyri called gyri longa. The insula is hidden from the surface view by the overgrown cortical areas of frontal, parietal and temporal lobes. These areas are termed frontal, frontoparietal and temporal opercula. Operculum means lid. The superior surface of the temporal operculum presents anterior and posterior transverse temporal gyri. The insula is an important 2-mark question. It is often asked in university. The sixth lobe is called limbic lobe. The quick recap about the external features of cerebral hemisphere are: it has 3 poles, frontal pole, occipital pole, temporal pole, and 3 surfaces: supralateral surface, medial surface, inferior surface, and 3 borders: supromedial border, infralateral border, infromedial border, and 4 main sulci: central sulcus, lateral sulcus, parieto-occipital sulcus, and calcarine sulcus, and 4 main types of sulci, that is limiting sulcus, axial sulcus, complete sulcus, secondary sulcus, and 6 lobes: frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, temporal lobe, and insular lobe, and limbic lobe. That's all about the external features of the cerebrum. Thank you.